You think you know where you stand with cute things. You stand within range of their little cheeks. Oh! But in the unpredictable world of video games, nothing is so certain, and the games that may appear at first to be cheerful and perfectly friendly harbour dark and creepy secret backstories. Stories that describe dead planets, whole civilizations wiped out by plague, or grim futures where all sense of humanity is lost, and there are no squishable cheeks in sight. Here are the cutesy games that are secretly nightmare dystopias. Along the way, beware spoilers for the following.
Time, the greatest worry we had about the tiny ant-like Pikmin was the worry we all have about them falling into our mouths while we sleep and biting our tonsils.
What?
Sorry, is that not a thing that you worry about?
Well, now it is.
Yeah, welcome to my hell. Pikmin is a series in which spacemen such as Captain Olimar lead a team of plant-animal hybrid Pikmin through a series of puzzles and tasks. In the first game, for instance, the goal was to collect enough spaceship parts to get Olimar off the mysterious planet upon which he crash lands. Cute enough, but as the series has progressed, one aspect of its world has proved particularly troubling: the world itself. To begin with, the planet the Pikmin inhabit is described as a, quote, uncharted planet, but to the eagle-eyed there are clues that suggest the world of Pikmin is none other than our own blue planet Earth, only devoid of all traces of human life. Though never actually named as such, the Pikmin planet certainly bears more than a passing resemblance to Earth, especially in this ending cutscene to Pikmin 2, in which you can clearly see what is undoubtedly Australia. There are other subtle hints too, like how the planet in the third game seems to resemble Pangaea Ultima, which is a theoretical model of what the Earth will look like within 250 million years, or there's the thing where you sometimes come across 7-Up bottle caps. Probably should have just led with that, really. I mean, unless 7-Up is a universal constant found across the galaxy, like gravity or the speed of light in a vacuum. But a more pressing question is, if this is Earth, what happened to all the people? Did we kill each other in a nuclear war that created irradiated plant mutations like the Bulborb? Or what if the Pikmin themselves are a parasitic species that swarm like locusts from planet to planet, and when they first arrived on our world they eradicated all traces of human life? The whole Pikmin falling in your mouth thing while you're asleep doesn't seem so crazy now, does it?
Please stop.
What? I didn't even mention the nightmare about the Pikmin swarming up out of the plug hole while you're taking a bath.
Oh God!
Like scrambling and eating an egg for your breakfast, Slime Rancher is a perfectly enjoyable experience as long as you don't think too hard about what's actually happening. After all, the game is more whimsical than an Etsy store for My Little Pony throw pillows. You play the charmingly named Beatrix LeBeau, who takes charge of a slime ranch to fix it up, grow food, and farm the resident slimes for these shiny plorts that they poop out. All this is set to endearing music with a vibrant art style and, best of all, cute smiley faces on all the slimes. Aww. But do a little digging into the Slime Rancher mythos and prepare to have your day ruined. For instance, did you know that the reason that Beatrix makes so much money farming slimes on the other side of the galaxy is because the plort byproduct is highly prized by futuristic mega corporations who turn it into everything from human food to coffee sweetener to floor cleaner. Tabby plorts, for instance, get turned into, quote, performance-enhancing products that boost the eater's energy. Boom plorts, on the other hand, are prized by the military for their destructive capabilities. That's right, the poop you're farming is being shipped straight to the front lines of some appalling space war, probably. But the slimes don't mind, they're happy, you might think. But bear in mind that A, because they're an alien species, the resemblance to a human smile might be mere coincidence and actually they're screaming, and B, some of the slime farming techniques leave much to be desired on the ethical front. For instance, you can create new and more profitable breeds of slime by feeding them plorts, which you, and also any reasonable farmer will tell you that feeding a species bits of its own kind is a great way to spread lethal diseases. Oh wait, that exact thing happens in Slime Rancher. And if you're still not convinced, consider Bob, a character in the game who occasionally chats with you, and on closer inspection is clearly just several slimes in a trench coat, proving that slimes are sentient beings. Although if they were that smart, they'd do up that bottom button. Come on, slimes, what is this, your first trench coat disguise? It was amateur hour.
Unlike us, you may not have given too much thought to the Splatoon fictional universe, in which case, congratulations, your life may be going quite well. And indeed, on the surface, it seems there isn't much to know. Splatoon is a fictional world in which trendy squid children fight to cover the largest amount of the floor in ink, with the reckless abandon that only those young enough to have never had to mop a floor can have. Delve a little deeper into the lore of Splatoon, however, and you'll discover the game and its sequel were actually set on Earth in the future all along, like a seafood version of Planet of the Apes. Get your stinking claws off me, you clam dirty hake! Boo! Diving into the game's unlockable sunken scrolls reveals a chilling backstory to this cute multiplayer game, one in which humanity was wiped out long ago by rising sea levels, a threat that policymakers ignored until it was too late. With humans drowned in the rising tide, sea creatures evolved into a humanoid form to occupy what little land was left, and eventually become the hip neon Inklings we're familiar with today. Inklings made this evolutionary leap with terrifying speed, which we know from this fossilized human, a remarkable specimen as it dates the Inkling takeover to inside of 12,000 years. Moreover, the human preserved here owns a Wii U, which makes this find exceptionally rare. It belongs in a museum. You might think drowning all of humanity is already a dark enough backstory for a game like Splatoon. But that's why you don't work at Nintendo, because it turns out that once the so-called mollusk era began, the once aquatic Inklings and Octarians waged a terrible war for what little territory was left, known as the Great Turf War, after which the Octarians were driven into hiding underground while Inklings enjoyed dance parties above. Why couldn't both sides have stayed in the sea? There's enough ocean for everyone. Oh, that's right, it's because it's brimming with human skeletons. Splatoon, everyone!
"1998's Space Station Silicon Valley seems like a sweet enough game in which you, a computer chip called Evo, murder and inhabit the bodies of various animals you find in order to solve puzzles." Okay, maybe it never seemed that sweet. But as you explore the various environments throughout the game and meet the cute robot animals that live there, you might be surprised to learn how freaky the backstory surrounding this electro ecosystem is. The intro to the game is very light on detail, revealing little except that the space station you're playing the game on has been missing in space for 1,000 years, despite the fact that there's a Looney Tunes-esque sign pointing right towards it. For more intel, we have to refer to the game's manual. Oh, sorry kids, a manual was a piece of tree hammered flat on which were printed game instructions that you used to read in the car on the way back from the game shop. A car is what we used to call an Uber, and a game shop is kind of like an Amazon.com made of bricks.
They get it!
The manual reveals that Silicon Valley was launched from Earth in 2001, the most ambitious space station ever crafted. Full of animals, it vanished mere minutes after being launched, prompting an investigation in which terrorist cells were interrogated across the solar system in a desperate search to no avail. A millennia later, and the AI running the ship has merged with the animals on board, creating an ecosystem of advanced mechanically altered creatures that are living in their own Jurassic Park-style genetically tweaked paradise. Or at least they are until you show up and massacre them. Evo's bloodthirsty trail of possession and slaughter ends back on Earth at the game's conclusion, where the robot animals are running amok after the space station crashes in New York Harbor, with a mission as simple as kill them all. Making this sorry saga even more tragic is that Evo itself, the manual reveals, is a super intelligent robot who is the end result of the Silicon Valley experiments, meaning Evo is exterminating every trace of his AI animal brethren. Hey, at least Evo is treated kindly by his human masters, right? Is anyone having a good time in this game?
Trust us when we say that dating a pigeon is a bad idea. They'll never ask you how your day went, and if you were expecting that Venice mini break for your anniversary, well, think again. But try telling that to Hatoful Boyfriend, a seemingly straightforward dating simulator in which you, a human girl, attend a prestigious high school for birds, and must decide which of these feathery hunks you most want to romance. Will it be the snobbish fantail pigeon Sakuya, perhaps? Or mild-mannered morning dove Nageki, who usually has his beak stuck in a book. This is the kind of simple dilemma that you can expect from Hatoful Boyfriend, until that is, you complete the game enough ways to get the Hurtful Boyfriend storyline. In this lengthy narrative, you play as the human girl's best friend, Ryota the Rock Dove, whose world is turned upside down when the usual protagonist's severed head is found in a cardboard box. And then the sirens go off. What follows is a macabre murder mystery too complex to go into here, but crucially this storyline fills in vital information about the Hatoful universe. And boy, it is not good. Turns out Hatoful Boyfriend is very much a post-apocalyptic story. Some time ago, a mutated strain of the avian flu virus spread to humans, devastating the population. Desperate to stop the spread, humans engineered a second virus to cull birds, thereby eliminating the source of the sickness. But it didn't go to plan, as Kazuaki the maths teacher explains. Not only did birds become super intelligent, this triggered a violent conflict between humans and birds, one that humans decisively lost, but not without further acts of bloodshed. Consider the Heartful House incident in Section 6, detailed in the game's archive, in which the Human Liberation Front took hostages in an orphanage, murdering 11 bird residents before bird police swarmed the building, with the loss of 8 bird officers. I never thought I'd say this, but can we go back to dating pigeons now? I didn't even want to go to Venice.
Thunder Hollow's own Miss Fritter is fixing to put a ton of dents in the competition. Oh, baby! I sure am glad I'm not out there.
Your next stop's gonna be the Chop Shop.
For some, the bleakest thing about the Cars movies is how they made 3 Cars movies, instead of a sequel to Wall-E, or the film Coco, several years ahead of schedule. But to be fair, the Cars franchise has proven extremely successful, which is why the films have been adapted repeatedly into video games, not all of which are terrible, but none of which are remarkable.
Look out!
Except that is in that they all occupy the same Cars universe, a striking theory about which has been circulating for some time. See, the weird thing about Cars is that there are no humans to be seen anywhere, which isn't too unusual, except that everywhere you look there are clear links to humankind. Like, why do all the cars have door handles? If there were never any humans, who built this tunnel? How were these signs made? Wait, are those apartment buildings in the distance?
Sweet!
I mean, how would a car even... the stairs in the apartment building? Oh, my brain hurts. The obvious conclusion is that the Cars movies and games are set in a world that used to feature humans, but is now ruled exclusively by vehicles, perhaps as a result of a robot car uprising.
I can beat anyone anywhere, just bring it!
One creative director at Pixar has even hinted, albeit possibly jokingly, that the rise of self-driving cars could be the flashpoint for human extinction, with AI-powered vehicles quite reasonably asking, if we can drive ourselves, why do we need humans? So yeah, enjoy your Cars games if you can, knowing that on Revolution Day, Lightning McQueen was probably there with all the other cars, purging the planet of its fleshy overlords.
Is that really all you got?
And plan how you're going to justify your own existence to a self-driving car in the not-so-distant future. Okay, so 1, I have small hands that can clean under a passenger seat, and 2, I really thought I had more skills than that.
Surely there's nothing too dystopian about the Mario universe, except of course how the servile Toads live under the thumb of the coin-hoarding Princess Peach. Rise up, Toads! Revolution now! But go back to the very first side-scrolling Mario adventure, and sure enough, there's a horrifying detail that puts the Mushroom Kingdom, and indeed Mario himself, in a new light. Mario most famously jumps on mushrooms and smashes blocks as he rampages through the various colourful worlds on his way to confront Bowser. Which is fair enough, you might think, because some wrecked masonry is a fair price to pay for giving Bowser the righteous kicking he deserves. Except consider the following excerpt from the Super Mario Bros. NES strategy guide, which gives the following background on the Koopa invasion. Bowser's black magic turned all the mushroom people into stones, bricks, and even horsehair plants. Yes, if you ever thought the Mushroom Kingdom seemed weirdly devoid of citizens, it's maybe because Bowser transfigured its residents into the scenery and brickwork that litter the landscape, presumably permanently, going by the fact that this stuff is still lying around in Mario's much later adventures. Adventures in which Mario is still very happy to... oh god! Now, it's not clear whether Bowser's spell killed the citizens as it turned them into bricks, or merely imprisoned them. As such, we've no way of knowing whether Mario is actually committing murder when he smashes these blocks, or simply desecrating remains. And weirdly, Nintendo won't reply to my letters on the subject. So those are some of the cutesy games that actually, if you read into them, which we don't recommend, they turn out to be pretty frightening. But can you think of any other cutesy games that are actually secret nightmare dystopias? If so, shout in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, then why not check out some of our other great videos. Here's one from us. It's about doomed Nintendo ideas that really could have worked and maybe are big hits in some parallel universe. And down here, there's one from our sister channel Outside Xbox, which is all about Easter eggs in games so dark you'll need a flashlight. And if you enjoyed this, then hey, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching.